Hello, everybody. Welcome to the OK Run Show. Today, we are sitting down and interviewing Zachary Williams. Zachary, how's it going?
It's going good.
Going good. How was TDF, Texas Distance Festival?
It was rainy. It was a
Okay,
lot
yeah.
of rain, but it was a lot
hmm
of fun.
Yeah, I saw the Twitter updates. I like opened Twitter and I follow the Piedmont page, and it was like the update from Carroll, like South Lake Carroll, the host. They put out like, this is what's happening with the weather delays. And the Piedmont, I'm guessing, coach just goes, "This is not a way to handle a meet. You had people that drove so many hours." And I was just like,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
was talking to people there. They were like, "Yeah, we've flown in here. Like, this is some bull
yeah,
crap." And I was
it's
like, "That's gotta suck."
crazy. Oh, dude, it's crazy. Like, that's wild to me because in high school, like I drove to every, meet or
Yeah,
whatever, like in a bus or car or whatever to, get places. But then you hear like kids that flew, and I was like, what? You have money to fly? Like our school.
yeah.
So my high school, Moreland, won't let us cross, so like the interstates bisect the state, like a kind of like a cross. We are in the northwest corner. We can't leave that quadrant. So we can't cross I-35. We can't cross I-40. We got
That's
to
bad.
eventually. We eventually got to, but it's like you could go to the OKC Metro. That's basically it. Unless like we
Wow.
were shipped across the state for regional like track, which happened quite a lot because in the small schools, like the northwest corner has like the good, like the heavy hitters. It has like Hooker, you know?
Oh, they're
And
good.
so like Hooker's good and we're good. So we would just get shipped across the state because Hooker's farther out than we are. So we would go to like we went to Sulphur.
Oh, that's far.
That was really far because it's the southeast corner. And so like the opposite of the northwest corner. But yeah, so a little bit of this. I have some warm-up questions first. These were some submitted ones. I thought they were easy, so I put them in the warm-up category for this question because I decided, well, let's prepare some questions. Because you said yes to me preparing
Yeah.
semi out-of-pocket questions. They could be interpreted randomly, some of them. But the warm-up questions are a little bit, more tame, pretty basic questions, a lot of get to know you. So this will be a good chance for the audience to actually learn about you a little bit. So first off, what inspires you to run?
Um, so when I was younger, me and my brother, we were like, "Oh, we're gonna play every sport. We're gonna be good at every sport." And then like we started playing soccer, and then when he got to freshman year, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna run cross country to stay in shape for soccer." I feel like that's everybody's story. And then I was in
Mm-hmm.
like sixth grade at the time, so I couldn't run. I was like, I'll go to some of the practices with them. And I was like, "Oh, I hate this." Like I hated running at first, and then it came my seventh grade year. I ran, hated it. Eighth grade year, I was like, "Okay, well, like I'm actually not bad." I was like, my brother's a sophomore. Like he's really good now. Or no, he was a junior at the time when I was eighth grade, and I was like, "Oh, he's good." I was like, he has the school record in like the mile, 2 mile, the 4x8's really good. I was like, he has a good chance to win
Mm-hmm.
state. So I really just looked up to him the whole time, and like he is my biggest inspiration to run. He was the main reason I'm running still.
So what are some of your goals for the coming season?
Well, my goal for the season was 425. I ran 426, so it's kind of like, wow, I already got that. So I think by the end of the year, keep it realistic. Go like hopefully 418 and sub 925. That'd be nice.
Okay. Um, the next one's slightly spicier. Who do you see as your competition in the mile? I'm guessing in 4A, obviously.
Um, Levi Johnson, and I had Tyler. He's from Poeta. I don't know if you know him. Tyler something. I don't know his last
You
name.
know it's
But
pronounced
Levi,
Poto, right?
I don't know. It doesn't
Poeta.
matter.
Poeta. All right. I
That's
was
how
like,
I've
that's
always called
Poto.
all these schools out in the boonies. I mean, I know mine is too, but yeah, just
Ah,
really Levi Johnson and that kid from Tyler. I couldn't really see anybody else. I mean,
yeah, it's
Cole
4A.
Powell from Bethany too. He's good. He almost beat
Mm-hmm.
me at Bethany, but
Mm-hmm.
nah. I think as I when I ran 426, I might have to seal it up and say I might take it this year. That's the plan.
So some slightly longer form questions. So these are for your interpretation. You're welcome to speak as much as you want on these. Um, First one's kind of one of my favorite. like get to know you questions. What's your favorite guilty pleasure song or artist? So basically it's what's an artist or a song you hate to admit you like? If you want, I'll give you my answer to this question.
Okay.
Okay, so mine is Juice by Lizzo. Because you hate to admit that you like Lizzo, right? Like, but
it
like Juice by Lizzo, dude, it slaps. It's such a good song.
is
And
not
then
bad.
like whatever the one that first made Olivia Rodrigo famous, I can't even think of it now. Good for You, the one that sounds like the Paramore
Yeah.
song. Again, that one slaps, kind of like the old Paramore song. But yeah, what's your guilty pleasure song and or artist?
Oh God, I don't know. But all right, my song is definitely "Snooze" by SZA. Like I don't know
Okay,
why. Like I'd be like, oh, I would never listen to a girl. Then like my girlfriend put the song in on the car. I was like, okay,
that's how it
okay, this
works.
ain't
Yeah.
bad.
Hmm.
Or Jay, Jay, he's on my team.
Yeah.
He's the biggest Rod Wave fan ever,
I have a
and he'll
question
put
about
on
Jate later. Like that's one of them that
okay.
I've written down. But it's a little
He
bit of
like
a deep cut, so like it may require me to share my screen and pull up a picture, but yeah, I'd probably just cut
I
off
got
your
a
train of
feeling
thought.
about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a feeling about it. But oh yeah, Jake's a big Rodway fan, and he'll put on some Rodway like if we're going like to a meet or something, or like, oh hey, I'll like share my AirPods with you. You can pick a song. Puts on Rodway, and I'll be like, oh this guy sucks. I hate him. But low key, I'll be like, okay, this ain't bad, but I usually
Mm.
don't. Most of the time, I don't. But yeah, Rodway, he's not bad.
All right. So, would you rather get punched by Mike Tyson or have to sound like him for the rest of your life?
I'm taking the punch, man.
You're just
You
taking the one,
sound.
like this is prime Mike. That's not 58-year-old Mike. I guess he's about to fight Jake Paul. So, I mean, I don't know.
I feel like where's the punch? My face, my
Yeah,
stomach.
yeah.
What's going
Like
on?
he's getting just a clean, just lick at you wherever. Like you're in a ring. It's prime Mike, like getting out of prison Mike, like wants to just mess your world up.
Oh, I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the punch.
Okay, you don't want to have to sound like him for the rest of your life.
Well, like, yeah, no. Well, it depends on if we're talking like, do you talk like him?
Yeah, you
Because
talk like him.
like the things that he says, because there are some
Oh,
very
yeah, there's some
out of
out of
pocket
pocket
things.
thing. No, I'm saying like it's still your brain. So you're still saying things that you would say. It's just you have his lisp.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take the punch. I
You,
can't do
you
it.
just say like Mike Tyson, you know?
Because I couldn't do it. Yeah,
I
no.
I love that Thomas had the Mike Tyson Invitational, probably named after some great coach they had. But I love
Yeah,
calling it the Mike Tyson Invitational.
yeah. I saw
Um,
like y'all's like most recent video, and I was like, Mike Tyson invitation. I was like, is that like, is he joking? I was like, is that true?
no, it's
And
actually
then
called the Mike Tyson
I saw it, and I was
Invitational.
like, wow, that's nuts.
Yeah, it's like if you go look at results on like Mile Split or Enduro or something, whatever it's on, it's labeled the Mike Tyson Invitational, and I'm just like, I I have friends from Thomas because they were like really good in Class A whenever I was coming up, and so
Yeah.
like I want to know the backstory. I might have to ask people what the backstory of like who's Mike Tyson is. This like a famous, not famous, but like famous in their world, like superintendent or coach or
Yeah,
principal.
you definitely should.
I want to know because I want to know like why is it called Mike Tyson? Like my high school went there this week. That's where they competed. Like was the
Oh,
Mike Tyson? Yeah, I don't know. It makes me laugh. What's your favorite dumb conspiracy? So this is not one that you believe is like necessarily true, but it's one that's like so dumb you want to believe it's true. And again, I'll give you my answer. My answer is Michael Obama. Do you know what that is?
I don't, I don't know. I mean,
It's
Obama, like the
it's
last
the well,
name.
it's the
Yeah,
theory that Michelle Obama's actually a man.
I could see that. I could
Like
see
that's my
that.
favorite dumb conspiracy. Like I know it's not real, but I want it to be just out of how funny it is. You know? Do you have one? You
Uh,
may not. You may not be like subscribed to any conspiracies.
I, I think the Earth's flat. If I'm being honest,
Do,
I
do
know
you?
it's not,
Well, do you? Okay, so you just want. Okay, right. You want it to
like you
be.
think about it, like I've never seen the Earth curve by itself. So it's like I don't know, man.
True. I feel like only the handful of people that have ever been to space have gotten to see it, and we just have to take their word for it, I guess. But
Or like it says in the Bible that like it's like a ocean firmament above us. Like
all
I don't
right.
know. Hey,
I
it
don't know.
could be
Hey, I don't.
flat.
Hey, I don't know. how many points do you think you could score in a WNBA game?
Oh, I'm dropping a 50 ball. I used to
No,
play
you're
basketball.
not.
I'm nice. I'm nice. I
You're
am nice. I will come on.
wait. Give me a couple questions. How tall are you?
I'm
Roughly. I
five
mean,
nine,
you
five
say
nine
five
roughly.
nine.
I
You're
it's
what?
5'10" on my driver's license.
You're what? Probably a buck 20, buck 30.
Yeah, 130, 130.
Yeah, you're getting bodied. Yeah.
Dude,
I
like
hate to
Caitlin
say it.
Clark, they're like, oh, she's so good. I will give her this sauce. I swear. Swear. She's getting a
I
bucket.
um next one, an amount of money or the ability to press a button to end world hunger. So basically, you have on one side, you have a button, you press it, ends like all of the hunger in the world. Or you're gonna choose a sum of money. Because obviously, if they offered you $10, you're gonna press the button, you're gonna end world hunger, right? How much money before you go, I can keep starving?
Okay, so does it end it forever or just ends it until they
It
go
ends it.
hungry again?
It's like,
Like,
I think it just ends it
that's a good
forever.
question. Because if it's
Yeah,
just like, oh,
it's a
10 days
valid.
later they go hungry, it's like, well, I should just took the money and let them starve.
Yeah, well, I've asked this question before. I've never had that response back. I'm gonna just say that it ends it forever.
I'm gonna end it forever. I feel like I'm a nice person. I mean, it's not like I'm not doing well, like financially, or like my parents are not. Like, yeah, I'm good.
No,
I'll
but
pass
like,
on the money.
what amount of money before you just go? All right, I'll take it.
Well, I feel like once you hit like 20 million, there's nothing else you can buy. So it's like you hit 20 million and you go up to 50. It's like I'm not gonna spend that much money. There's no way.
So your answer is 20 million.
No, I'm pressing. There's no money in the world. I'm pressing the world hunger. It's done. That's so messed up. That's like millions of kids.
Um, okay. Does Jake Drew look like Jay from Inbetweeners? You
I have
probably don't.
no idea who
You've
that
no idea.
is.
What did you think my question was going to be about Jake?
I
I
I
gotta.
thought you were. Do you follow him on Instagram?
I've seen pictures. Like that's how I know
I
this.
thought you were gonna ask about his like MMA boxing one because I
Oh,
don't know why he posted that.
I
I
saw
thought
him
you were gonna be
post
like,
that.
why
I
did he
thought that
post
was
that? And
kind
I
of
was like,
funny. I thought that was kind of funny, but
well,
let
he
me.
told me he posted it as a joke to see what other people would say, and he got a
Yeah.
bunch of hate from it at school.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I can imagine in high school. Like, let me share my screen. I'm gonna share it. This is Jay from Inbetweeners. If you can see, if it's up, I think it's up.
No, he does not look like that at all.
He looks like Jay from Inbetweeners.
One person. This is who I think
I
Jake
mean,
truly
okay, you
looks
can
like.
say like Patty the Batty,
How
like
do
in
I?
MMA.
Can you see this? That's who
Uh,
Jake looks like. The hair. No, dude, at TDF, there was people like, "Let's go, Simeon." Where I heard it, I was like, "What?"
maybe in the in the old running world. But I say it looks like Jay from Inbetweeners. And if you haven't seen Inbetweeners, it's a great show. It's made in the UK in like the 2000s. It lasted for like 3 seasons of like they were only like 6 episode seasons. So it's a really quick watch because like 20-minute episodes. But anyway, it's a show that you couldn't get away with making anymore, but it's like so funny. And for like a generation of kids from the UK, like my old roommate was from the UK, my assistant coach at my old school, UK, grew up in that era. They love that show more than like that's like their all-time favorite show. And it's so dumb. It's so dumb and funny, but like they make jokes and say things you definitely can't get away with anymore. And if you're into that
Hmm.
kind of humor, watch Inbetweeners. It's free on Amazon Prime. Like
Yeah, Jake
anybody
does not
can,
look like that though.
he looks like he does. And
It's
then
like such a different
no,
hair color
you
too.
need to okay, watch it, and then you might go like, man, maybe he acts like him more. I won't describe it, PG show, family friendly, but
Yep,
you might see him and go, all right, he is Jay from Inbetweeners.
maybe a little.
It may be more of a personality thing, um, but it's great. Like there's four like main characters in the show, and your friend group, you'll be able to figure out like who each one is, and it's awesome. Like I literally found guys on the team. I'm like, there's like the one that's like the there's like a really preppy kid who got like he left his like private school and has to go to like a normal school, and there's that kid. There's like kind of the like cool one, if you will, like the most like normal seeming guy, but he's got a crush on this girl, and the girl like always somehow rejects him. Um, or like he goes to a party to meet her, and then like she brings her boyfriend, and he's just like, you know, like,
Uh,
um, so there's like that guy, then there's Jay, who's just super out of pocket, like just the most out of pocket human being of all time.
that's
And then
Jay.
there's like Neil, who's like the dumb, like just clueless, like he's the guy that's like gullible. Like, and on my college team at Washburn, we had a guy that like we convinced him, well, not we, but like some of his roommates his freshman year took him to Walmart and told him, you have to milk the cows at Kansas Walmarts. He's from
And
like
he believed
Houston.
it?
He was from Houston. Um, like so big city Houston guy, and they took him to Walmart and they said, "Hey man, you got to milk the cows." And that kid walked around for like 20 minutes in Walmart for the section of milk cows. It was
Oh my God.
phenomenal. My roommate and I, also his freshman year, convinced him that well, not we, my roommate had brought a child over from England. So my roommate was like, he's like 22, 23, so he's a bit older coming over, and we were describing that like the kid, because yeah, he has obviously he's gonna ask questions about this kid. We were like, yeah, he's got his son Gerald. Gerald was our cactus, and we didn't tell a single lie the whole time. Like everything he'd ask, he'd be like, oh, like what does he do during the day? Oh, he just kind of sits out on the porch and plays. And then he go like, does anybody like check out what him? He's like, does your neighbors watch him? I was like, yeah, our neighbors can see him. Like we didn't tell a single lie to this kid about it. And for a week, that kid believed that yeah, another one of my favorite, Cooper Griffin. I love Cooper. I love that kid to death. He's like the hardest working 17-minute 5K college guy ever. Actually, he's probably broke 17 now. He had like zero talent walk on kid, but like he would try very hard, and we loved him. Like he effort every day, did everything right. Um, I blew out a tire driving back up to Topeka on the interstate. And so like I had to swap cars.
Ooh.
Like my parents brought my mom's car up to me and we swapped and went from there. But they're like the same car. They're both Ford Fusions. So they look roughly identical, just one is a different color.
Hmm.
So I just told him that I painted my car like over spring break or whatever I was coming back from. And he believed it for a few days. It was great.
Dude.
It was awesome convincing that kid of just the most random things, because he was just there's a lot of times he's the guy you walk by and there's not a thought going on in his brain. Like
That's
you just
funny.
look at him and you just see his face, like just sitting there. Like if he's left his own devices, he's just sitting in the corner, like it's
Can't leave
so
him
bad.
alone.
Um, ooh, now some. I think these are maybe spicier questions. Who's the most overrated runner? You
Yeah. Are we talking like in the state or like
Up to you.
professional? What's up?
Up to you. How do you want to go with this?
I'll give both answers
Okay.
if in state and
Okay.
the most overrated professional runner. I have to go Josh Kerr, bro. Jakob is gonna kill him this year. It's
Okay.
gonna be bad. In state.
In state.
I'll give somebody that like used to run that I was like, dude, this
Okay.
dude,
That's fair.
he's not all that. He still runs. It's just different state. Cade Parks. Like me and him were like really good friends. I joke around with him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But every time we raced, I spanked him. It was bad. Beat him every time.
Mm-hmm.
He come up to me. Oh, dude, my leg. Oh, dude, I didn't eat right. Oh, dude, I had a soda last night or something was wrong. I was like, you got beat fair and square. It is what it is,
Mm.
man. You just got to own up to it. That's somebody, yeah.
Okay.
Or
Oh, okay.
uh,
Go for it.
it was kind of like my brother's like rival,
Mm-hmm.
Ryan McLaughlin. I was like, he he he
Mm-hmm.
he runs at OCU still, but like I truly think he was on steroids. If I'm being honest, I think he was.
Hey,
I don't think he was natural, and
hey, whatever you want to believe.
he
Um,
liked to talk too. So it was what it is. But hey, he showed up when it mattered, so he's good. But
which Oklahoma college would you least want to run for? Like when you're up for recruiting and going to like picking your school, like
Cameron University. I don't know if,
like that's fair
dude,
out of a cash kid to like not
dude,
want to be in Lawton.
they texted me, they put me and Jay in like a group chat on Instagram. It was like,
Mhm.
oh, do y'all want to come take a visit? Blah, blah, blah. And my brother took a visit. He said he regrets it. And when they went to go eat, they were like,
Mhm.
yeah, you only have a $11 limit. And they went to Texas Roadhouse, and I was like,
What
what?
can you
So he had
get
to,
it?
my
Tolls
brother had to, he
the
had to pay
rolls?
out of
What?
pocket. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You can
He
eat the rolls?
he paid for the appetizer and was like, yeah, man, we just don't got the budget. And I was like, what?
God, if
Yeah.
you're a
So they,
okay, if you're a coach, and I get you can't really do this, but like, okay, it's Cameron. Like nobody's gonna tattletale on Cameron for this. Like, I
yeah,
get why schools like Oklahoma State want to be careful, right? Because maybe people would want to see him fail. In AU, same thing.
yeah.
Big schools, I could see that. Who cares about Cameron to the point that the coach could go pay for it? And I actually think that you can do that because I do recall I've certainly been where coaches have picked up the tab and like maybe it was they were using the team budget, but like $11 is a bit low, especially when you go to like couldn't you go to like some local spot? I mean, granted, local spot in Lawton's probably not that great anyway. I guess they have the what's that drive through like the drive in like it's like an old school Sonic
Oh, Wayne's.
Wayne's. Yeah, my brother lives
We
in
got a
Lawton.
Mexican restaurant. It's called Los Tres. I eat there probably like once, twice a week. It's good.
Is it in Lawton?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
in Lawton. I
Yeah,
don't
my
live in Lawton. I live in, or no, I live in Lawton. I don't live in Cache. But
oh,
Cache is like
okay.
7 minutes away.
Right.
So
My brother lives like on the side of Lawton close to Cache, like closer to Cache, like not that far away.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I drove down there this summer once to stay at my brother's house for a couple days. But
I think another school.
okay, go ahead, go ahead.
Their coach already tried recruiting me,
Mm-hmm.
and I was at Pitt when he came up to me.
Okay.
He was like, "He's like, oh, we need to get you on a visit," and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah, sure." And I was with Cade Parks, and even Cade, like the coach walked away, and we're like, "Yeah, we're definitely not doing that." And like, I got like two people that I know. They go there. Like I used to race against them, but then they got there, and then it was like, how did you not get better? You're a sophomore, and y'all are still like not running as fast as you did in high school. Rogers State University. I would
Ah.
never go there. I don't know if what's
Mm-hmm.
the training or they
Mm-hmm.
just don't care about running. They suck
I
straight up.
have my okay, so I was in the same conference as Rogers. So I like to talk a little bit of smack. I love the guys. The guys are all great guys.
Yeah, like
I
Nathan and Clint and Blake, dude,
great
Ian,
guys.
all cool guys. But it's like
Great guys.
I'm not seeing much progression. Like
I
I
have
like
yeah.
it's like respectfully, like I would kill most of their guys
So,
on the team in the mile. Like that should
so
never happen.
that's yeah, you're probably weirdly like normally I would argue the other way with most college teams, but like with this, I'm not gonna argue with you.
Yeah.
I love the guys at Rogers, like love them. They're all nice guys, but I do think that they like underperform. I agree with you, they underperform what they should. Like they don't like a lot of these guys they have went there, and I don't know what the reason is. I'm not on the inside. I have my opinions, and maybe sometime I'll get into them, but they just somehow underperform. And I also kind of a little bit have beef with a little bit how like Rogers is run. So Rogers had their old coach. I don't remember his name, but their old
Yeah, I
coach,
don't
like
know.
they had a full like track team, right? Which is great. Well, when they had a full track team, they did well. They even did well in the distance races. They were doing good. That coach decided to take a job up as like a firefighter, wanted to move on with his
This was
career.
recent, right? Because they
Recent, yeah,
just got
fairly
a
recent.
new
Like
coach.
when Kennedy came in, which was like 3, 4 years ago. Like I think it was
Yeah, I love Kennedy. He's cool.
going into my senior
Yeah,
year.
that was who came up to me. Super
Yeah,
cool guy, and he was like saying like everybody does everything different, but then like I
I
was
mean,
in the
yeah,
back of my
everybody
head, I was like,
does.
they suck, they suck, they suck.
Every like I will say that I agree. Everybody does things differently, and I'm getting my master's degree in exercise science essentially. And I will say this about training, the methods are many, but the like actual concepts are few. Like if you want to get better at like overall endurance, what do you do? More volume. That's a simple concept, right? Do more volume. That'll help you with aerobic capacity, if you will. But there's a million ways to skin the cat. You can do that a million ways. Like like at Oklahoma State here, whenever I was training with the team in the fall, there were guys that legitimately ran 110 to 130 miles a week. They did that. Great. And then you see people like the Parker Valbys of the world where they, like they're renowned for their cross training. Everybody's like, well, how do you run so good on cross training? Well, simply
Yeah.
they do a lot of volume. Yes, it's not necessarily running. She runs enough that she has the skill of running, the neuromuscular side of running.
Yeah.
She has that down, but she still does a lot of volume. It's just in a different way. It seems like a wild concept to runners because when a runner has to take a day off, they're like, man, I'm going to get unfit. Oh, I got to bike for a day. They're like, oh, I'm going to lose all my fitness. They get like, it's a
I
normal
think she was
running.
lying.
I don't, no, I mean, it's
There's
just that
no
like,
way.
it's, there is a way as debatably an exercise
I
scientist, there's a way. Like there is certainly a
She
way.
said she ran like two times a week and she went out there and
You
jogged a
can do
national
that.
record.
Well, maybe not. I mean, she jog is relative. She looks very comfortable doing it. But also you have to realize you part of it is she's an otherworldly talent. She's not just like, you
Yeah,
know,
she's
I
natural.
hate to say this. I'm not an otherworldly talent. There's no shot that I'm going to be able to do her training because, like, this last winter, I stress fractured my tibia, so I had to not run for 2 months. And I was like, well, I'm going to cross train like an animal. I was doing like 2 hours a day on the elliptical. It was an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening. I would do essentially double workouts 2 days a week. So, my hard days normally I would do, two kind of hard hours of some kind of interval of some sort. Um, I came back from that when I started running again. I got up to like, I don't know, like a 60-mile week and then had my first race. I ran in 3 races. I ran 3 of my 4 slowest races ever in the 1500 meter. Like I ran 3 of my 4 slowest. I did it 2 hours a day. Didn't cut it for me. I also could not get my heart rate up to save my life on the elliptical. It was crazy. I could maybe I could get to 150. It was like I think the highest I think I got like as a just a peak heart rate on any given workout, I got to like 170 once. So I
I feel like
like
that's not good. That's not good
that's
though,
low.
right?
That's pretty low. That's
Because on
pretty low.
workouts,
Like
mine's like it depends on like what if it's like a speed day,
mhm.
185, 190. But my
Sure,
heart
yeah,
rate's
for
always
peak,
like
yeah, that's
super
normal.
high.
Well, that's actually fairly a normal peak for if you're doing some super intense. Like you're in that severe zone of intensity. What it's called in the literature is literally severe. There's like, easy, moderate, hard, severe, which
Yeah.
is like sprinting.
But like even
That's
sometimes
not
when I do
on.
like
That's not high. That's normal.
like we did like a 6 mile progression and I went from like I think I started off like 555 down to like 508 or something like that.
Hmm.
And like each mile we just went down the last two cut down like 10 each. And even in the middle, like I was like, oh, like this is super easy. Like I feel like I could pick it up, but I'm not gonna do that. And I like look at my watch, like, dang, my heart rate's 185. I'm like, feels like I'm going out here and I'm just jogging. That's why I really don't like pay attention to it.
I'll give a rough for anybody that's listening if they want to hear a rough number of like tempo heart rate or threshold heart rate, whatever you want to call it, because that's semantics. Everybody means different things when they say threshold. And like unless you're actually measuring it with threshold and you have done a threshold test prior, you don't know what your threshold is. Your
Yeah.
watch does not know what your threshold is. It's a like, especially when they talk about like lactic threshold, they're like, oh, my lactate threshold is this. It's like, yeah, okay, show me the numbers. Because I
Yeah.
am an
My
exercise
watch
scientist.
thinks
I need the numbers.
I can go 16:53 is my peak 5K,
Yeah,
and I'm in
they're
peak
not
shape.
great.
That's it.
They're not great. What's great about watches is they can do distance and time okay. They're pretty good. They're pretty close to accurate.
Pretty good on sleep too. It tells me what I
Um,
need.
yeah, some of them they're hit and miss on those. I'll agree. But like heart rate, there's some variability watch to watch. Like you could wear 2 watches and get to within like 5% probably different heart rates. But yeah, back to RSU and me kind of crapping on them. In my time at Washburn, um, maybe up until like this last outdoor season, I think they may have finally surpassed me in points in the same period of time in our conference. It was like and they're a distance only program. But before that, they had
Yeah.
sprinters and they did okay as a team. I get they were in AIA, then they moved to the Great American Conference. The Great American Conference, I hate to say it, it's kind of a joke for the most part. Like
I've never heard of it, so I'm gonna be honest.
it's the one with like Oklahoma Baptist, East Central,
Wait, OBU is
Northwestern,
that?
OBU. That's the
I would
GAC.
never go there either.
Um, but anyway, they left the GAC. I think they had a GAC championship. They had an NAIA national championship, which again, not the hardest thing in the world to do. I will say
It's still pretty hard, I would
it's
say.
not as hard as you think. It's not as bad. Now it's better than it was, but like 5-10 years ago, it was like, all right. It's a little harder now, of
Yeah.
course, but so is every division is a bit harder now. But honestly, the depth of talent in NAI does not measure up to the classes above it. Like the
Oh
depth,
yeah.
they have some top ends because the great thing about NAIA, you have less rules, so you can get people that the NCAA would not touch with a stick because they're like, that's a liability. We're not touching that. They don't have the requirements. They have something wrong where we cannot have them. In AA, you can pick those guys up and go, let's go. JUCOs can
You
kind of do
throwing
the same
shots at
thing.
anybody particular?
No shots at
Uh,
anybody. But it's no, I know people that have done NAIA time after like it's crazy. Like I've stories because like where I went to school, Washburn, like we had St. Mary's up the road. They had like 30 guys on their team. It was wild. And then they had guys that were in like seventh, eighth years that were washed up like Division 1 runners that came back. They had like
holy.
guys who ran at JUCO for 2 years and then a D2 for a couple years and then went to NAIA. They're like, there's abilities to flex the rules a little bit. But yeah, so like that's great. So you do get some kind of top talent, but for the most part, you still don't. Um, and the depth of talent is not nearly what it is at any other division.
Yeah.
Just like OCU does great, and that's why they win in Division 2. But OCU, if you move like let's say take their cross team, move them to Division 2, they're gonna have a tough time. Even if they like, even
Yeah.
if you insert them into the GAC, they'll probably win. They just got to be well. Actually, no, I don't think I'd take them to win. The GAC because East Central. Take East
Oh
Central
yeah.
East Central would beat them
Isn't
this
that
year. At
isn't
least
that ECU?
ECU, yes.
Don't they just get a bunch of like Kenyans and stuff, and they're
Uh,
just golden?
yeah. I mean, they did recently. They got so I know all of the guys on their team, like all the Kenyans, and like I know their
Yeah.
backstories kind of. One of them, he's a transfer from University of Central Missouri. He was a good runner up at Central Missouri. I didn't even realize he transferred down there, but he did. Another one of their guys is one of my college teammates' brothers,
Hmm.
Michael Yali. He's good. He was a bit like banged up this year, but like still did pretty well. And then they got 3 guys that all came from the same junior college, which was Northwest Kansas Tech. I raced them in there. And actually, what's crazy, they got better going to East Central, which I thought was kind of wild because when I was in high school, East Central was where runners go to die. Like you don't go there and get better. But like I genuinely, so I went on a visit there, and then I went on a visit to Oklahoma City. And Oklahoma City, honestly, was probably my number 2. I almost decided on going there. That was when Aguero was still there, and then it was um Aguero was still there, but then like the group they had, it was like the guys that I gelled best with were their better runners too. They were all graduating. And then the guys that were going to be left over were like kind of like they weren't that great. They didn't take running and stuff as seriously. And I was like, I don't want to risk it just to show up here and have a bunch of guys that I don't get along with as well, aren't even as
Yeah.
good, whatever. So that's how I ended up going to Washburn. But yeah, like they've done well. And I love Frazier. Like I actually I knew I was going to
Dude.
Washburn, but I went to OBU like on a visit just because like I had a lot of respect for Frazier because he was always a nice guy to me in high school when he was at Mount St. Mary's and we would race him. So he was always like very respectful to me. He's like, oh, good job, all this stuff. So I was like, out of respect, I'll go there. And yeah, so that's that. Yeah, I surprisingly did not crap on Roger State as much as I thought I might. But those guys, I think if they were in different programs, a lot of those guys, I won't name names,
Yeah.
but I think if they were at different schools, they'd run faster.
I really want you to say who, because I got somebody
No,
in
like
mind, but
no,
I'm
I
not.
mean everybody that has seen what they were in high school and then seen what they are there. Like what Rogers has done well is they've taken guys like Nathan Hernandez, great guy. He wasn't that great in high school. He's gotten better. Like they've done a good job at that. But a lot of that is for the first time, these kids are running like 60, 70 miles a week. They're doing consistent workouts. It's yeah, it works. It works to
But
get them.
do you think it's as good as it should be?
No, no, and I
Okay,
have like and
that's what I'm saying.
from following their Stravas, I can poke holes that I want to, but I'm not their coach. Like I could poke my holes, but I'm not their coach. Their coach believes this is the best training, and if they believe it's the best training, it's the best training for them. You know, you can get really fit off of like stupid training if you just believe it's good training, because then at least you're confident going in. Like I can look at a lot of
It's
people's
all
training
mental.
and go like, that's dumb. Why are you even doing that? Like from a and I could give you verifiable scientific proof of like this is not how that works. But
Yeah,
if you believe it, go for it. Like if you look at Jim Ryan's training, it was hilarious. But also he was a freak of nature talent, like as a
yeah.
human being, as a specimen. So he was going to get good regardless. Would he be better with today's training? Possibly. But also he adapted really well to the training he was given, which was adapted swim training, where he would do like almost every day it was intervals of some sort at different paces of all different sorts. It's hilarious to go back and read. But um okay, this is my last kind of semi spicy question. Would Cash have won state cross country if they had better hairstyles?
Are you saying somebody in particular that doesn't have
No,
good
just
hair? Because
everybody, just
I
everybody,
know, I
just everybody.
already
I've
know.
seen the dyed hairs, like all of it. Like I had to stalk the Instagrams, and
Um,
you
I
know,
think if we would have went back red last year, I think we would have had it. All props to Bethany though. Their coach is
mm-hmm,
crazy. They're good. I'm glad they won over like anybody else. Like if
mm-hmm.
Bridge Creek would have won, I would have been really upset because I don't like anybody on their team.
Okay, we have a the next thing I have is kind of a lightning round, and it's hilarious. There's only five. There's only five, and it's good or bad for the sport. Basically, it's a yes or no, essentially.
Okay,
Do you like this? Do you not like this? First one, and it's just simple. Like I don't need next. We can talk explanation afterwards, but like we'll just
after. Okay,
rapid
so just yes or
fire.
no for
We'll
now.
rapid fire through the five. First up, half tights under split shorts.
No, 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 no.
Okay. Okay, Runco.
Yes, it's great.
Okay. Treadmill runs.
Love it. Yes.
Having to pay for mile split subscriptions.
No, no, it's stupid.
Strava beef.
Yes, it's amazing. I love it. Love it.
All right, you can any of those if you want to pick them apart, you can.
All right. There's Strava beef. When I do it, I don't see. I just don't think most people know me enough to that. Like I'm not serious. I could really care less. I like all the runners.
It was
Like even the
it
stuff with
was
Roger State. Like I bet you
okay.
like Clint and all them will text me after and be like, "Why are you crapping?" I was like, "Bro, I was just joking." But y'all training does suck. Like it is what it is.
Yeah. Um it was like kind of hilarious. Um the the one like that sticks out to me, I'm sure you know it, and some people have probably seen it, or at least if you haven't, tough. Um, it was hilarious because it got sent around our group chat, and this was before like we really got back into OK Run Co. So like I
Mhm.
started the OK Run Co. in its oldest form, which was Oklahoma High School Running. Then it was Run Enduro because Enduro was like, "Hey, we'll help you out." And then
Hey,
but like after I graduated in 2020, I basically didn't touch it until like 2024. So now I'm back playing with it and doing stuff and actually posting, which you're too young to remember the golden days of OK Run, like of Oklahoma High School Running. Like it was
no,
hilarious.
I
Like
know.
we had like this was 2017. There was genuine
Not that
people
far
like
back.
yeah, exactly. No, you know, you're not old enough to remember the like that was the golden era. You guys like we have like 2,200 followers. We had like 2,000 followers within the first couple months because we were like super active. And how we
Yeah.
picked up steam was like, yeah, we just like reposted stuff for people. Like we had like if you scroll all the way down, it's just like shout outs or whatever. Like it was done. We had question boxes like all the time. It was great. And like we had people genuinely beefing between teams, not us beefing. They were beefing between teams saying like, I'm gonna use Cash and Bethany, but like, you know, you get oh, Cash is gonna win state. Ah, Bethany's gonna win state. Ah, you guys are trash. You guys are ugly. Like it's great. Like it was hilarious. But we just repost
Yeah.
everything. And like, and then we actually gave some commentary. We were like, hey, what's your predictions? And then they'd say something. And when people would say something that was dumb, we would just call them out for like, they're not gonna win. Like, stop it. And then there's other times where
Yeah.
we're like, you'll gas them up, whatever. But it was hilarious. And then everyone wanted to figure out who was running the page. It was me and this guy from Guthrie, Trevor Saley. We were like, well, I can't really our identification. So like half the fun was when people would slide up on our stories like, who runs this? We would try to run them on a wild goose shit. We had people believing their teammates ran it. Like we genuinely had like it's like
Oh,
if you slid up on the story because someone was talking a lot of trash to you, and I would somehow convince you that I was Jake Drew. Like we had like that was the golden era of like of that. I love this guy to death, but I have a video that is still on Instagram. If you want to go find it, it's was posted by some high school team. I believe it was like Norman High School. Like a couple of the guys in their team had like a funny little page, and I have Daniel Nichols saying the N word. Like I have that video. Like it went back into our like one of our group chats at some point, but there's a video floating out there somewhere. And when I was still on the team at OSU, I like someone sent it to me. I was like, I forgot about this. It's like a little like sideline interview at a track meet that like some high school guys were doing with Daniel Nickel. And he says he like just drops it in the middle of the interview. And it got sent to me, and I was like, I like just forgot, just blacked out this part of my memory that had happened.
I can vouch for that.
Have
You
you
know
seen the video?
Carson Bird from no, I've never
Oh
seen it,
no.
but
Mm-hmm.
you know Carson Bird from
I've heard
MacArthur.
of him. Yeah.
Okay, so that's in Lawton, which is
Right.
like 20 minutes away from us.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel used to go there, and so
Mm-hmm.
he usually comes down on like some weekends. And Carson was like, "Come longer with me and Daniel." I was like, "Okay." Never really been a fan of him. He's like a fifth year senior or whatever. Always redshirted. I was like, he's not really gotten much better. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I guess I'll come. And yeah, I guess you can say
He's a
I can
yeah,
vouch for
he's a
him.
character. He was one of the big characters of that page
He's
early on. Like
he's definitely different.
he made our job easy because we were kind of at certain points we were almost TMZ of running, but like he was a hilarious guy. And I like personally like knew him in those days because like at one point we were gonna do like a bunch of us that were like good, that were all like in the western kind of part of Oklahoma. We are gonna
Mm.
like essentially make a club and go to like NXN or something or NXR.
Hey,
Um, but you can't really do that. Even if you're a club team, you still have to be from the same school, like in the same school
yeah.
district. So like it didn't work, and so it fell through, and we never did. Um, but like so I kind of knew Daniel Nickel and like had him on Snapchat and stuff. His Snapchat name is SeaWorld Hater if you ever add him. Or at least it was. It still is in
Just
my
giving
phone.
it
So
out.
every time he posts a like, well, it's not like his at, it's like just his like name that he has set. Um,
Oh, they're talking about like his username, so like everybody can go at
No,
it.
no, you can't just go add SeaWorld Hater. I don't know what his actual at is for someone to look him up on Snapchat, which I mean, I don't know if people would care enough to do that. But he's so funny. Like he is like genuinely hilarious, and I love the guy. But that video surfaced, and I was like, I mean, I have no access to be able to take it down, but
So
like
funny.
that's one that like when we were like 2017, he got away with it in our little world, but
Yeah.
like if that resurfaced, oh man, like and but it was very casual too. So like it wasn't like he wasn't yelling it at somebody. Like
Or like he wasn't like being hateful with
he
like,
was not
oh,
being
like
hateful in
yeah.
any way with it, but like he did let it fly, and it was like something else. So that video resurfaced, and I like a couple of the guys that I was like a little bit closer with on the team that were also like friends with Daniel. I like sent it to them, and they like showed Daniel, and Daniel comes up to me the next day, he's like, "Where'd you find that? Like that's still out there?" I was like, "Yeah, man, it's still out there." I don't know because that account hasn't had anything posted since 2017 or 2018. Like so, it's lost to the ether. The OK Run Co account does not follow them, so tough luck finding it. I don't know who I don't follow him, so
I'm not gonna go try
good
and find
luck
it. I
trying to
just
find that. But that's some like okay running lore that's out there that somebody's bound to dig up. I don't know, nobody's bound to dig up. There's not that many people that are gonna listen. I mean, yeah, we can maybe. I think this one's an interesting one. Where like,
I think this one's gonna pop off. I'm gonna repost it.
go ahead, mate. Yeah, I probably won't even edit it till I'm back. I'm driving to like Galveston with my girlfriend tomorrow, and I'll be there till Thursday. And I have to do a
Okay.
very terrible job photoshopping. Somehow you like, you've seen our little graphic.
Yeah, I saw the one with Trey Baker.
I've never used Photoshop in my life. And like I figured out how to cut people out and add them to like a background. And I got the little background and I can just edit the text. One day I'll get better at it and it'll actually look good. Probably not. But Trey Baker, like I found it and I was like the one that like would cut out properly. And it was like not a great, like he's like gritting his teeth at the end of a race. And I was like, that's
Yeah.
fine. Sean does not like his photo. It's because it's like from his freshman year at OBU, like when he was there for a semester. And like he's like, I look so different in that one versus what I do now. I'm like, well, send me a headshot. He's like, I don't have one. I'm like, I'll take a picture. He's like, that's not worth the effort. Because we could just sit there, like we basically meet every Monday in the library. I could just bring the camera, I take pictures at meets with. But yeah, so it's a fun time. There's a lot of okay running lore that I want to not die, but
I got a question for
okay,
you.
you can ask me any question you want.
Do you know there's like another like Oklahoma page? It's like
Mm-hmm.
blue.
Yes.
Who
Okay.
runs that? I
I,
think it's Lincoln Christian's coach.
okay, we had our suspicions like for a while. So when that page started popping off, this is like we were always like left in the group chat, a couple of us that had like ran the account in the past. And someone sent it in there and they were trying to figure out who it was and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. They're doing a good job. They make little graphics and stuff that are cool. Um, and we also believe that it's that coach. I don't remember what
Well,
brought
because
us onto it, but go ahead.
like so I've talked to their coach like on Instagram, and the way they type and like put lol and
Mm,
the laugh, it's
mm-hmm,
the exact same.
mm-hmm.
But then they reposted. So my brother, he got engaged, and they reposted it and said the Cash Lovebirds or something. And so I was like, is it my coach?
That
I was
would be a
like,
plot
is it?
twist.
And I, no, because I slid up and I was like, is this Huff? And they were like, you'll never find out. And I was like, what?
I
But
love
I
that.
think it's Lincoln's coach,
I
like for
mean,
sure.
they said that they're gonna like go back to their normal job now because we're actually doing stuff and they're active again. Which
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
and I
all
was like,
right,
for a teacher, I was like,
it's yeah, that's
no
kind of
way.
like that part made us believe like, okay, yeah, it's a coach of some sort,
Oh, yeah,
posting
it is a
stuff.
coach because I asked him, I was like, who is
Yeah.
it? And he was like, I'm not gonna give away any specifics, but like I'm a coach at a school and my team does well. So I was like, it's gotta be one of the top dogs in
Okay, but
AA.
like also every coach should just say their team does well. Like that's part of your job. Like,
Yeah, I
and
don't
like
know.
honestly, if you care enough to make that account, your team's probably okay. Because like the teams that aren't that good in the state, a lot of times their coach just is like a coach from a different sport that just got assigned to doing track and field or cross
Oh,
country.
and when it first got like started
Mm-hmm.
getting popping, they reposted Lincoln Christian. The first thing they ever posted on their story was Lincoln Christian. So I was like,
That
my
usually gives it
suspicions are
away.
out. It's them. It's
When
them.
like when we first got off the ground, we had like no followers, like like less than like 300 or whatever. Kind of easy to
Yeah.
figure out who might it be. So we didn't follow ourselves. But we followed a lot of our friends, and then our friends followed us back. But then like as long as we had enough people that it could be about anybody, like we could convince people it was whoever. And we did. We led them on. We called them wild goose chases, of course. So like we just would lead them all the time, and it was fun.
I
It was
think
honestly the most fun part of the account.
when I think it was my freshman year, so 2021 cross
Mm-hmm.
state, we won. And
Mm-hmm.
y'all were posting like everybody else's, and y'all never posted a cash one.
I
So
was
like
out of the
my
count for
brother
that
was
one.
like, yeah, my brother was like, dude, just send a picture. And like, I don't, I'd
Yeah.
feel kind of bad doing it. I sent a picture and I was like, y'all got to post this. Like, we won. And then they just hearted it. And then they posted it. And I was like, yeah. I
That's
was like,
funny.
let's go. They posted it. I
Yeah,
didn't know if that was you or not.
nah, it was not me. I was so basically I graduated in 2020, left for college, and like I was there to help them with anything. I had the account login, but I wasn't logged into anything. I could. I knew the password because I was around when the password was created, which was the dumbest long. It's such a pain to type in too. It was so like the old password. was just like, it was like 4 words that were like 6 letters each at least. And so it was just like so long and arduous. And it was like, oh, one. I'm like, all right, that was so much fun. Like, I get we had to have a number at the end. Um, but it was so dumb to try to log in. So I never did. And yeah, it's a fun page to run. And it helps because Mile Split. So, like Sean and I work for Mile Split, and that's why we're getting back active on this account. The reason we don't have an actual Mile Split account is because apparently people like that are in that department at Flow Sports, which is the parent company of like, so Flow Track owns Mile Split. Um, so
Oh,
everybody,
really?
it's just a shell game. Like, it's just one, like the theory of like, oh, there's just these 4 companies owning everything. Same thing in the running media world. Flow Sports is the parent company. Mile Split is basically just the high school arm of Flow Track. Like, that's
Yeah.
essentially all it is. But somewhere up at the top, our boss, the guy he's supposed to talk to get his social, because it's got to be in with their meta, you know, on their tree of accounts, they got to have us added in there. Well, the guy that he's supposed to talk to no longer with the company, so he's like, I don't know. So we're kind of in limbo of like, maybe we'll get a Mile Split account at some point. Um, so that's why Sean and I are just like, yeah, we'll just post it on OKRunCo because we already have like 2,000 followers. Like, that's at least a start. And then we've steadily gained, I think we're like at 2,300. We've, we're coming back from like the depths of
Oh,
the
yeah. It's
dirt
Y'all
right
are definitely
now.
popping off a lot more now.
No, yeah, we're just active. Like, I got
Yeah.
nothing else to do. Like I'm a grad student, and everybody talks about, oh, college is so hard. College is undergrad. There's some times where it's like a lot of work. Grad school, again, occasional times there's a lot of work, but grad
Yeah.
school, I take 3 classes a semester. You take 5 during
That's it.
undergrad. I take 3 classes. I'm in school a grand total of 3 to 4 hours a week. Like, I'm in a classroom for like 4 hours, maybe a week.
I take 7 classes.
Well, yeah, you're a high schooler. That's what everybody takes, or roughly what
Still,
everybody
hey,
takes.
English, I hate it. I just want to
And
drop
well,
out.
you'll have to take composition or English,
Well, I'm
whatever it's called.
like we can do concurrent, so that's what I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
do next year. Get it out the
do
way.
do do it do it if you can, because I think Oklahoma still pays for probably as part of those. I think they pay the tuition part. You just got to pay the fees.
Yeah,
um
it's like a $100 fee or $50 fee or something like that.
right, it's like, it's not that bad. It's way cheaper than
Yeah.
actual college classes, so take as many as you want. And if your school is anything like what my school was like, if you took them and they didn't line up with like I had a 9 a.m. college class 3 days a week, because I had a 9 a.m. I didn't have to go to like the first 3 hours of like my high school, which is great. So I didn't have to take the actual like high school classes at the time, which I didn't have, but like Spanish left. So I was like, all right, that's easy. I go to one class basically a day. And then I like two
That's
days a week. I don't even have to wake up until like, way later. It's
yeah.
phenomenal. And college is so much better than high school. Like, it's
Yeah,
so
we got a guy like on the team. He doesn't come to school till fourth hour, doesn't have a
mm-hmm,
class fifth hour, has a class sixth hour, and then athletics seventh hour.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, so he barely even comes. So
Yeah.
he's lucky.
Your senior year's a joke, especially the second half. It's a joke. It's so funny. Like, you're just there because like you have like one actual class you gotta finish. Plus,
He's like super smart. So junior year he took like an AP class and then you
mm-hmm,
take a test, and if you get like a 4 on
yeah,
it, you don't have to take English next year. He
mm-hmm,
made a 4, so he has no classes he needs.
mm-hmm.
Zero.
He's just
So
there to be. The government
he's
makes him
forced
be
to
there.
take classes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mm-hmm. I've
And
I've
to run
I've certainly
track.
been there. I'm trying to think of what else. Maybe like, what's your training even like? I know we talked about this with Trey, so I guess I'll ask you that. What is your training like? You have talked. I mean, granted, I joined you in it and agreeing that there's some training plan programs out there that are not as great as others. But what's your training plan like? What do you do?
Um,
Maybe maybe
Really,
I'll just
I'm
shoot
at
holes
we're
in yours. No, I'm kidding.
nah, mine's good, especially from the person it comes from. But we do like 45 miles a week, and then
Okay,
the like 42 to 45 is a max. Like we don't
that's
ever go up to
solid.
50 or nothing. But like we got a new coach, like I said, Huff,
Hmm.
big small school, I guess situation happened. He left
Hmm.
and he's not coaching anymore. So we got a whole new coach. and what was the sprinter coach, now he's doing distance.
Wait, so
So
your
like
coach just left? You're like distance coach? So you had a distance coach
it
in the fall who's no longer with you guys?
yeah, it's
Oh,
a
okay.
bit complicated. Something like with his son, and then just
Okay.
a lot of stuff
Family
happened,
stuff, he
and
had to leave. Okay. Kind of.
not necessarily. But
All right.
anyways, it
All
doesn't
right.
matter.
Cool.
But we do 45 miles a week. The Monday's workout, Tuesday recovery, usually 8. Wednesday workout, recovery, and then Friday's like a almost like a tune up. It's not as like serious, kind of like it's kind of almost like just you're just not really doing much. It's almost like a recovery, but you're like a little more like maybe some 200s at the end or something. Friday, or I mean, Saturday is like a long run, or you do it Sunday, and then yeah, we're good. But I don't know if y'all knew, but like me, Jade, and Christian, like the three main guys on the 4x8 last year, we quit for the school like
Mm.
in December because like things weren't working out. We were trying to figure stuff out because I had another coach that was training me, um, and he knows what he was doing. So I was like, I'm just gonna do this, but I was like, I'm gonna go up to my track coach and be like, hey, like, can we figure something out? Like, you'll throw the workouts in there, or like you give me Tuesday, Thursday to do workouts, and then I'll do recoveries the rest of the day with y'all, and then with Saturday long run. And he was like, no, like if you want to compete, you're gonna have to do what I say. Kind of like
Hmm.
he was being super arrogant about it and everything. So we were like, all right, I'll just quit and run unattached. Like it is what it is. So we did that for a while. And then one day we were just like, man, like, dude, we could easily go back and win the 4x8 again and have good shots in the mile, 800, 2 mile. And as a team, because our team is super good this year, like, this is one of the best sprint squads we've had, best distance squad by far. And we have no field events. So that might be bad, but and so we came back and then but I was like, well, I wasn't gonna come back. It was Jake that initiated it. He was like, we should just go back and see if we can work things out. And I was like, dude, he's just gonna do the same thing. But we went back and it was different, and we were like, oh, okay. So he's gonna take the workouts from the coach that still trains me. He's gonna take that and like mix it in with what he's doing. And so we've
Hmm.
done that. And it's been a lot better. But the coach that did train me is Frazier. Goat.
Hmm. See, that's another
Dude,
thing. If he
he's
was
a
an
genius.
NCAA coach, he could not do that.
Yeah.
Which again, there's less rules to
Well,
NAIA for better versus.
it's not even really him. It's like him and my brother. Because my brother was
Hmm.
like, dude, like you quit. Like, what are you gonna do now? Like, who's gonna
Hmm.
train you? And I was
Hmm.
like, I mean, you and Frazier easily could. Like, obviously he knows
Hmm.
what he's doing with y'all. Y'all are crazy good. So I was like,
Hmm.
he's like, all right, I'll talk to him about it, blah blah. And then went from there. We're good.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you for going Frazier. Frazier's a good coach. I'll agree with that. I do like most of like his training. I mean, there's always going to be differences in what various coaches or athletes like and don't like. And I don't know, obviously, the
Yeah,
full structure to his. I haven't sat there with like a giant Excel spreadsheet of like, oh, this is everything he does. And if you look at what I do, people might think it's dumb too, but it's just what I do. It's what works. I don't know. Like I have fun.
yeah.
Like I don't really train that seriously these days, but we have a good time. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we want to cover. Is there anything else you want to cover? Is there anything you want to make sure that the world knows?
Do you think that I'll win this year in any
In
event that you
what? I
think?
mean, yeah,
Four
sure.
four by eight
I'm
mile,
trying to
2 mile.
think.
That's what
Oh,
I'm
I'm
running
trying
at
to think.
state.
You guys are returning 4x8 champs.
I get
You're
3 guys back.
only, I mean, you were not that far behind Bethany. And Bethany, at least they're kind of structured. They seem to be a lot
Wait,
more
Bethany and what? What are you talking about?
like 4x8. They're not as mid distance as like they're
Oh,
not as
dude,
strong there. Like I think Bethany maybe if it was a 4x2 mile beats you guys, but like
no,
yeah, they won in cross. That's why. But like
this ain't cross.
like it's that, but like a 4x8, it's kind of I feel like more your wheelhouse. Like you guys have more speed than they do. Like it's just kind of the way it is. So I think
Yeah,
even though like because normally especially in the smaller schools you can kind of go well who won cross probably is going to win the 4x8, which if you look at class A that's normally true. Well, not really because class A is 2A in cross country, they combine, so it doesn't always work out that way.
yeah,
But like 2A it's pretty well accurate, 3A it's pretty close to accurate, 4A a little less accurate but still usually pretty accurate. Who can win cross can usually win the 4x8. 5A, 6A kind of goes out the window eventually. Um,
Yeah.
but I think you guys would probably win the 4x8. Could you win the mile? I think 426 is better than anybody else in 4A. I'm trying to think what other, like, yeah, because who else is good at distance in 4A? Bethany, and
The
nobody
next
else is fun
best
enough.
is the next best time is
Unless I'm missing someone.
432 and 434, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. And
I
then it's all
mean,
just like a 35 and then the rest are 40s. But this is
right.
like the fastest
Yeah.
like opener for everybody we've ever had
Mm-hmm.
in 4A. It's actually crazy.
Yeah. I mean, a lot can happen, of course, but distance events are
Oh yeah.
pretty like, there's a lot less variability to them, which makes them so much easier to predict. I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's especially at the high school level, who's going to win the 2 mile? I think if I went class by class and said who's going to win the 2 mile and the mile and the 800, I would get like probably at least 70% of those correct. Like if I
Not
went
not
through,
not 6A.
and that, no, I mean 6A, 5A, 4A, 3A, it's fairly predictable. Like
So for 6A, like I
6A might
watched
be
Sean's
where I
video
miss some.
today.
6A may be where I miss some just because like,
For the 800, dude, they're all like 1 through 8 is all
yeah, well,
156.
that's what I was like kind of rambling about during the pod earlier was like, there's so
Yeah.
many guys 156, 156, 156 point this, 156 point that. Someone else just ran 155 high. So they're basically a 156 guy. This guy ran 157 low. And that could equal carnage. A guy goes down that I thought would win, doesn't win. But I'm still saying within the margin of error, I think I could probably get
It's
70
gonna
to
be Cole Bennett.
80%. Like, I could get 70 or 80% of them correct. It's like
But the thing is,
across
the
all
mile's
divisions
still so up in the air though for 6A. You
for
got
6A.
Noah Thayer,
I don't
yeah,
think it's that up in the
413,
air.
411.
I
Bro,
don't think that's that
if
up in the
Cameron
air.
was in that race, he would have beat Noah. That's how it is.
If all right, like you take
He
that
ran
one,
414 last year.
cool. I still think I'm gonna take Woodcock right now, but I
Oh,
don't
I'm taking him
know.
too, but I'm saying like
Yeah,
if it comes
I,
down to a kick, it's
well,
Noah, obviously.
if we're going off of odds of right now, I think if I took Woodcock, I wouldn't be like, I think he's most likely to win. Like, like in the two
Yeah.
mile, I think Rutherford's most likely to win. Granted, like Cam Langdon ran 918, but Rutherford, he ran 3Ks indoors is worth like 912. If you
I think
convert it, he ran
if Brody
836.
runs if Brody runs the 2 mile, it's
I
over.
don't know. I
He could
see, and
go
I don't
sub
know.
9.
I don't see. I don't know yeah, I don't know. There's a
If he wasn't
lot.
that fast, it would have been over.
Six A, there's a lot. Yeah, I think. I mean, Brody Woodcock could win it, but we still haven't seen him there yet. Rutherford beat him in cross, so I like that a little bit more for going into the 2 mile. Um, I don't know though. Yeah, Woodcock could win, could, but I don't know. Obviously, the lower the class you go, the more predictable it becomes. 5A, you take Trey Baker in the 8, take Trey Baker in the mile. 2 mile, I gotta look back. I don't know, maybe a Carson Bird wins, someone like that.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of other 5A guys. I'm not thinking of anyone.
Or the kid from Ardmore.
I don't even know his name.
He ran 958 last year. Oh, what's his name?
Oh,
Brandon or something like that.
no, there's the Lincoln Christensen 5A right now.
Oh, I forgot about. Oh,
So I like
dude, no,
another thing. It's like, like, but I still think I can get. I mean, still I think Trey wins the 8 and you know, wins
oh,
the 8,
that's over.
wins the mile pretty handedly, and then like 3,200. I think there's like maybe three or four guys you can pick from, but really probably one or two.
Yeah.
4x8. I think I might take Lincoln Christian. You know,
Might or will
I
because they're
probably
going
will.
to destroy
I
everyone.
think I probably will. I don't know. Yeah, I think I
I don't even
probably
know
will.
what the next fastest time is in 5A. I don't even think
Um,
it's faster than what we ran, and
and
we
then
didn't run
like
hot either.
like you get out on like A, 2A, I think you get pretty close on all of those. I can maybe go
I think
100%
Regent Prep is
3A, I
2A
think.
or 1A.
No, they're 3A.
No, they went down again. I talked to Clay after
Oh,
Bethany. He was
maybe. I
like,
don't know.
because I
Maybe
was gonna
they're
think I was like, oh, if they're 4A, like that's not gonna be good.
no, I
Like
think they're still 3A.
Clay would
I
kill.
have the classifications. I can actually pull this up. Let me look.
Well, he told
I
me
think
they
they
went
still have
down again,
we
and
have
he's easily going to win the
classification.
mile.
We have classifications. I'm looking at them. They are where's Regent Prep? Where's Regent Prep? Where's Regent Prep? Where did you guys go? Am I missing you guys somewhere? Where's 3A? Well, that's Rejoice. Where's Regent? Is Regent 2A? Maybe they are.
Told you. He told me they went down.
They're not 2A. Are they? They're not. They have no shot they'd be A. There's
Actually, I think they
no.
are A. I think that's what he said.
No, they are A. What?
I told you. Yeah.
How did Regent go to
They have
A?
he told me they have 6 guys on their team and 5 of them are distance and then one's like a 400
Hmm.
guy. He told me he's gonna try and quad and go 4x 800 mile, 2 mile. And
And in
if he
A, I think he
runs,
could. I think
if
he
he's
could.
last leg on the 4x8, all he has to do is just run like a 157 if they're down and it's over. The mile he could go like
Hmm.
4:45, 2 mile, barely sub 10. 800, he doesn't even have to go sub 2. It's done.
Hmm.
They'll win state as a team too.
Yeah, I think
Well,
probably.
because you
Well,
got it.
no, because I think, well, like Ripley, or not Ripley, Ringling is the defending champs. And like they return a good number of guys and they're like more sprint based. They'll win some like of the shorter relays. And so where it would be hard is if you only have 4 or 5 guys. Like we ran into this issue at Moreland is we could really only get like my junior year, we set 4 guys to state. It was our 4x8, but we also all ran 3 to 4 events like a piece. And so we still finished third as a team, but like Hooker, who had sprinters and distance, and I can't remember who was second, but like, we couldn't do anything about it because we weren't going to score in the 4x4. Well, because we couldn't run the 4x4. We were all in the 8, the 4x8, the 2 mile, the mile. We couldn't even run a 4x4. We couldn't
Yeah.
even field a team. So I mean, I don't know. Like, I think for the most part, I think I could be probably 70% correct. Maybe I'll have to do maybe I'll put that out as an article. And then at the end of the season, like just picking distance winners across like men, women, all classes, I think I could probably get over 70% of them correct. I think I could.
My next question for you is:
Okay.
do you think Cash wins state for team state?
Sure. Um,
Sure,
sure. I mean, who else is
sure,
in it?
or like
Who else is in 4A?
Heritage
Who
Hall?
aired it? I don't know.
They won
They're
last year
not. I
before.
mean,
And
I think it
Lincoln
makes it
Christian's gone,
interesting.
which helps a lot because they
It
would kill
does.
us this year.
It does. It does help. Do I think that, Heritage could win? Maybe. I think it makes it more interesting. I mean, what's the fun in watching a blowout? Like that's kind of what
Yeah,
like got boring about like the Warriors when they won the 73-9, right? It was so
yeah.
boring about that regular season. They're just all right, they won again, cool. They won again, cool. Like no, like it's cool like the first year that some team like pops off, you know, and does it. But then like after like 3, 4, like title runs, you're just like, oh, yeah, I don't care. Or like if it's a
Yeah,
blowout like at state and something, like Sean and I, like we rather cover the events that like actually have something to happen in them. Also helps when people run fast because like I flip through meets and I'm like, yeah, maybe this is a super competitive field. Maybe it was a great race to watch, but they ran 5:02. I don't care, like
yeah.
anymore, like because we're kind of starting to set like in our brains, like what is a like noteworthy performance, and so like for a 2 mile, you got to run probably 9:40 or quicker. A mile, you probably got to run, I mean, like 4:20 low for us to make mention you on the pod. Like it's just that's what's going to be notable now. Like it's the same thing. Like you on a bigger scale. Like you know, the webpage Bring Back the Mile doesn't even keep track of the list of sub 4 milers anymore. They used to. They did for like ever. They kept a list of every single sub 4 minute miler. Now it happens so frequently they stop carrying the list. Like they
Mm-hmm.
don't care. They're like,
Yep.
well, it happens so frequently we can't even keep up with it because it happens at any given meet anywhere at every level. We don't care anymore. So like it's the same thing. The level rises. So like if you don't rise, we're gonna have a hard time like covering it. Like with like a girls mile at 6A, gotta kind of be under like, and maybe even in all classes, we're probably gonna need like 5:10 to really mention it, you know?
Yeah.
Like 5:15, maybe it gets a mention. If you like if you run 5:15 in a race where the next closest person was 6 feet, all right, we're gonna mention it probably. Or if you run 5:15 and the men's race runs 5:16, I'm going to mention it just because it's hilarious. Like at Bethany,
Yeah.
like the girl from Shattuck jumped higher in the pole vault than the men did. So
At
like
Bethany,
at the Bethany meet, at
the
the
guy
Bethany
that
meet,
won was from Cash.
yeah, the girl who won jumped 4 inches higher. Like
Yes. Wait, she jumped. What was it? 12?
Almost 12. So maybe
Yeah,
not
because the
4
guy that
inches.
won for us was 11.6.
I think she jumped 11.10. I really do. I don't remember what
It was
it, but like,
embarrassing.
yeah, it kind of is. But then, like, you got to realize
But
there's,
but
I don't, there's levels.
he got fourth at state in pole vault last year too. He
Yeah.
jumped like I
But
don't know,
here's the
over
thing with pole
14, I
vault.
think.
The number of good pole vault coaches in the state is like less than five. The
Yeah.
actually no pole vault is like I believe
Oh,
I
it's
can
definitely
coach.
hard.
I believe I can coach every track event pretty efficiently. I don't know the technique well enough to coach pole vault. I mean, maybe I could
No,
teach myself it, but still, I don't think I would be like that would still be the hardest one. I think I can teach technique of other events that I have no experience in from learning them easier than pole vault. Like pole vault's just the hardest one to do. You have to have someone that basically dedicates their life to pole vault. Like that's what we had at Washburn. That's why we always had good pole vaulters. Like
even hurdlers though. It's
hurdles
still
is
hard.
difficult, but hurdles I think is still simpler than the pole vault to coach.
I think distance runs it's easily
It's
the
the easiest.
easiest
Oh yeah, dude. It's so easy.
because
Like,
you don't really got to rely on like form as much. I mean,
no,
obviously you
you
have good
don't.
form, but it's like if it's horrible, it's
It's
not gonna
not,
like
it's form is not that big of a deal. Like people make
yeah
it way bigger of a deal. And my favorite thing is everybody's like, oh, don't be a heel striker. Don't like, you're not supposed to run like that. Run up on your toes, run up on your balls of your feet, run midfoot. You want to strike like this, you want to strike like that. And
yeah
then like they show my favorite thing is there's a video that follows up some Instagram reel of someone saying how you should strike with your feet. And then there's a video of just the foot level of, I believe it was the Olympic 10K from like 2012. And you see how each person's foot landed, and every single one of them is different. And like you're
yeah.
some of them
It's
that
all
like if you
different.
don't look at the rest of the body, you're like heel striker, that's bad. He's gonna be injured. Guy probably has never been hurt in 20 years of running you know
Yeah
like it's not the end all be all. Like everybody runs a little differently, and genuinely as you run, like I mean, you if you saw a video of yourself running when you first started running versus now, you'd be like, like I look terrible. Now you're like, all right, I look all right. And then fast
yeah
forward another like 5 years down the road, you're gonna be like, wow, I look terrible running in high school. Like I see pictures of myself running in high school versus pictures of me running now, and I'm like, it's wildly different. It's really the more you run, the better you get at it. Kind of like shooting a basketball. Like if it's going in the hole, it's
yeah
going in the hole. Like everybody dogs on some of the jump shots in the NBA that look terrible. But if they're going in the okay, if they're not making shots, okay, let's fix it. But otherwise, like if you can make it to the NBA with that jumper and it's going in a reasonable
yeah.
amount,
You're gonna be
I don't
fine.
care to I don't care to change it. Like what good am I going to do changing this awkward form? That's just how you shoot. So I mean, it's form's not that big of a deal. Maybe that's my running hot take of the podcast. Form's not that big of a deal, and
No,
Rogers' training I would debate isn't the best, but they've had some success. I have to give them their flowers in some ways. Like
have
I feel bad if
some.
I only talk bad about them. Like I
What's
do.
what success did they have? Like, I mean, I think
Their girls have
they
done
ran
all
a pretty
right.
good 4x8 last year.
Rogers,
I haven't really. Yeah, I think their 4x8 I didn't run super bad. It was like
we
low
don't do four
740s,
by
I
eight.
think.
That doesn't matter in NCAA.
Well, I know it doesn't matter, but
Nobody
like I'm saying, it was still
cares.
pretty high. It's pretty
Nobody
good though.
cares about the 4x8 unless you're NAIA or JUCO where it's at your national championship. Then obviously you care about it. You don't care about the 4x8 in any other division in college, any other part of your life. You're never going to care about a 4x8. Like if you go to OCU, you'll care about the 4x8, but you'll care about it once to qualify to nationals and then a second time at nationals. You're going to literally care about it twice. You're not going to run it every week. Nobody does that
Yeah,
because nobody hosts it every week because for most people, it's not even a competed event. So like Rogers, they did all right. They have a couple people that have done well, but that's because they respond really well to Kennedy's training and great for them. The girls have done well, but I think, and we had this conversation Sean and I did with a coach, a Oklahoma like high school coach that's team has had success, and we are actually talking about Rogers' training. He's like, I don't necessarily agree with it, but their girls team has done well. But I think a lot of that can be attributed back to the fact that some of these girls had nobody to train with in high school, and now they have some people to train with, so they get pushed a little bit more, and they've improved. Or some of the guys
yep,
in high school, a little easier for a guy on a team to have training partners, usually, or good training partners that care, kind of thing. And so, like, I don't necessarily agree with everything Rogers does, but I'm not in the situation of Rogers. Like, obviously context to why they train that way. Maybe it's, I don't know. Um, hire me. No, don't hire me. Keep Kennedy. Have fun. I don't want to work there. It would actually kind of be a pain to recruit there. And like, here's my reasons that it would be hard. Like, Kennedy has a hard job recruiting. Like, like genuinely, he's up against a pretty steep hill. Because here's the thing about Rogers is they don't have very many majors, so there's less options for kids to go there. Like,
Yeah.
there's not that many. There's like very few master's programs. So like, if you want to take a fifth year and you want to graduate like at a normal rate, so 4 years, you want a master's program of some sort that you can get paid for. So you're like, but there's like there's like an MBA, which I mean is probably the most versatile like master's program, but still like there's not a lot. There's like 3 master's programs there. So if you get like if you're really interested in like some kind of niche subject, you're probably not going to go there. Also, the entirety of Rogers County is paved. So they have one golf course to run on that's grass. They have to drive to a high school track, which isn't the worst thing. Like we drove out of town of Topeka every day, not every day, most days to run on dirt roads. Where like Rogers, I think
Yeah.
if you have to do that, you probably have to drive like 30 minutes. That's why like occasionally the only time they run on gravel is when they do long runs because that's the only day that makes sense to do it. Um,
Yeah.
Nobody there really runs that many miles.
I
Which
think
isn't that bad
Nathan
of a
and them are
thing.
at like
That's not
75.
that many miles. In college, that's not
That's
that
a
many.
lot.
That's like it's a lot for high
75
school.
is
I
like,
agree. Like when I was in high
I
school,
would
I would have been
die.
like, holy crap, that's a lot of miles. But they get up in college, you're like, that's not that much. Like, especially when you start doing college workouts with college warm-ups, you're gonna be like, well, actually, that's not that hard to do. It's 10 miles a day to get 70. Like you will be like, that's not that hard. Because you do like you'll probably do a 12 to 15 mile long run. So already a couple of your days of the week have to be less. Your easy runs are going to be about an hour of length. So that's like 8 miles, you know,
8.5.
it's roughly 8 miles ish, for an easy run. Like it's easy to run 70. Like it genuinely is. And then I know a lot of their guys double too. Like you double, like
Oh yeah,
it's even
doubling's
easier
easy. I forget about that.
doubling like it's actually easier than you think to run 70 miles a week when you're in college. Like it's so easy to do it. Like it's so easy
Yeah.
when you're in that program, you're running with guys every day. But like Rogers is up against kind of a steep like hill to try to recruit talent because they don't have facilities really to be like, oh, we have cool home meets. Like they have the like cross meet that they've thrown together on a soccer course, soccer fields,
Yeah.
which is cool. I mean, I think they try their best there, and I gotta give it to them. Like it's a good idea for the facilities you're granted, but like
I just feel like they don't have a lot to show either. Like, oh, we
no, and
had this
that's
guy
also
that
the other
was like
thing.
amazing, but it's like you don't have a guy that was like that.
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, I mean they're an interesting team, and I love all the guys. Like I cannot say that enough. Every guy I've met there is super nice. And I think their culture is actually pretty good. Like, because they all seem to get along. They all go to church together. It's a beautiful thing. But like, they objectively, and this is where, like, if any of them do come at us for it, objectively, they have underperformed. And I think you attribute a lot of that to the training. I mean, because they're guys that are, at least from the surface level that I see, it doesn't like it doesn't seem like they're doing stuff like they're not going out and partying all the time and not training. Like
Yeah,
it's
it
not
doesn't
the
look like that.
so it has to come down to the training. Once you start like cutting out variables of what it could be, you're like, it's gotta be the training. Like, and so
Yeah, but then like at the same time, there's like they usually get a bunch of guys like that weren't like stellar in
true.
high school. Like Nathan
And
wasn't, Ian wasn't, Clint wasn't.
they've done good with some of those guys. I will say they've done good with some of those, but I think a lot of that is for the first time these kids get good training. And that's why I
Yeah,
love whenever you see like a run CCG, like that's probably the most famous example where like Thunder Road running, you'll see them post about some kid running a 40-second PR, like, oh, they had to put in a good summer of training. It's like, yeah, it's probably the first summer they ever ran. Of course they're going to run a 40-second PR. Like,
yeah,
it's like the context of that's like, oh yeah, duh, they're gonna run fast. They never trained before. Now they're training.
but yeah,
Whoa,
but then
like
like a guy like a guy like from Roger State, like Blake Farron, like He
They
hasn't
don't
run
do,
much faster than he has. Like I don't
I don't even know
understand
if
that
he's
either.
run as fast as
He
he
hasn't
has.
because what did he run 4:13, 4:12 in high
4:13 or
school?
4:14, I think.
I don't think
And
he's ran sub 4:20 indoors or outdoors last
he
year.
hasn't
Like
run
it's like
indoors and outdoors. I think he's run 3:59. I think he's just barely broken 4 minutes, but that's still only 4:16. That's
yeah,
still only
and then
worth
like
about
even
4:16.
even in cross, it's like he's supposed to be like their big guy, and it's just like it was never like that.
Well, it's also like, I don't know. It baffles me a lot. And I mean, I could probably break down their training as to maybe why that would be. I know they try to do like a lot of tempos, which is great, but
Yeah,
they
they do a
don't
tempo
have
every week, I think.
they do a good amount of like tempos and stuff, but I don't think I don't know. I also did love this is also one of my like training beefs that I have with people is like, with like the threshold stuff. Because as someone who's in the science world, I understand what like that actually means. Like someone's in the science world and like people like Jakob Ingebrigtsen, they do it correctly, right? Like they do the testing with the lactate meter, which if you want to drop a cool 400, $500 on a good lactate meter, by all means, go do it. Because also you're buying each strip you use to test. So every time you prick your finger, assuming you get a good sample, is another dollar to $2 each time you test. So if you test 10 times in a session, that's $10 you spent on a session to test. It can be a costly endeavor. And if you do like double thresholds, like why that makes sense training wise of why people get good on double thresholds is simply they're doing more volume. But also the
Yeah,
double-edged sword of double thresholds is you do more volume. And a lot of times if you just like, oh, it's the new great latest greatest thing, now you've doubled the amount of threshold you've done in a day. What do we know about like if you went from 40 miles a week to 80 miles a week? Like you're probably gonna get hurt, like same kind of thing. You just
yeah,
doubled the amount of volume you do. Like, I added another 8 miles to my day. Now I have a 20-mile day that I would have never had. Like, so sometimes like guys can get beat up and injured off of that for that simple reason if you don't do it intelligently. But also you're probably not measuring and doing the lactate properly to even be in the right zone, if you will. But like Rogers, I remember, I think it was in the fall, maybe this fall or last fall or sometime. They did double thresholds one day. And I was like,
oh, I
well,
saw that. It
A,
was over. I think it's over the Christmas break.
maybe. A, you're probably not doing single threshold correctly. And
Yeah,
B, why? Like, why are we jumping to
yeah,
double thresholds all of a sudden? Like, I get it. It's like, it's what these pros are doing and it's great and whatever. Cool. Let them do it. But like,
yeah.
I didn't think
It's
the
like you're not a
implementation of it
pro.
wasn't this. Yeah, well, like, I mean, anybody could do double thresholds. I agree with that like statement. Like, it's a good way to train if you feasibly want to do it, but also it would kind of suck because you have an entire day where like, oh, you do a training session in the morning and then guess what? You're training again in the evening. So like when you do like a hard training session in the morning, the rest of the day you can kind of just screw around, do whatever you want. But then like you gotta run kind of hard again later. You're like, oh man. Like, so it's also a little bit of a mental like, you got to pay a
Yeah,
little bit of a mental debt to it. So I don't know. I it's not for me. I mean, maybe if I was like seriously training, I might try it. I guess I could. I could train however I want these days. But uh, I'm good. I also don't think everybody should implement it. It's not the greatest thing, or it's not like magic. I'll say that it's not magic, but yeah, Rogers could
yeah.
do
I've never
better,
done
and
that.
they're the nicest guys too, but they genuinely, objectively underperform. So if they do come at you objectively, they underperform with their like, especially their top guys. So that's my
I
rant
already
about
think
Rogers.
and Nathan doesn't like me and Jake. I don't know why. Jake likes to talk, so
I mean,
he kind
yeah,
of
objectively, like, no hate to this, but like, you guys are easy to hate. Like, I will say, like, you guys are easy to hate. Like, it's like, you follow, like, if you, and I don't even follow you guys. The OK Run account did follow you, but I know we went through there and like unfollowed most people except for like coaches and like high school teams. So,
yeah.
but especially if you're someone who's semi-active sending us stuff, of course, we like stumble onto your account a lot, but then we like see your stuff and we're like, all right, this is kind of like annoying. We're like, that's the kid that like would get bullied his freshman year of college. Like, we're like, that's the guy. Like, I had teammates like that were like, maybe not in the same way, but like we're some way it's like this kid's gonna get like when they meet the wrath of like college guys, they're just gonna roast the crap out of them until they like are a normal, just cool dude. you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I think. Oh, you got anything else? You got any more questions? I'll answer anything pretty much, especially this like deep into the pod. I think I could probably answer. I know, but who's listening still? Maybe. I mean,
You
you'll
think
listen.
Brody wins the? You think Brody Woodcock breaks the
Yes.
state record in a mile?
State record. I don't know. Some point that I kind of brought up, but I know I was rambling a ton during the podcast. I feel like I sound like a
Yeah.
kind of an idiot. Yeah, we'll figure it out. This one's sounding better. I don't know why, but I think that you really don't get that many opportunities to run fast, and so like, could he break it? Is he going to break it during the regular season? No. I like if you make the bet, if the bet is does he break it before state? The answer is absolutely not. Does he break it at
Oh
state?
no.
Maybe with Rutherford, with Thayer, with Carson Patton in the race. Does he break it then? Maybe. But also miles like the last event those guys are doing, chances are they also ran two, at least ran one other event. They at least probably ran the 2 mile,
Yeah. At least
maybe an
the 2
8
mile the day before.
or a 4x8. Like, they've done
Well,
something else.
yeah.
So like maybe not, but also it's still in the state of Oklahoma and in the springtime, no guarantees it's not going to be windy. So there's that factor. So like I think the next opportunity he might break it, assuming he doesn't travel to some far away magic land of running fast, is going to be after the season if he goes to a like running lane. If he goes to
Like
Arcadia during
Nike
the
Nationals or
season, he
something.
could do it. Yeah, Nike Nationals. He could do it at some big kind of national scale meet where he has other
I
guys that are going to run that fast, or at least set him
I
up to run that
yeah.
fast.
I think if they actually if like kind of like last year's state for 6A, like it was a tactical race. Keegan
Mm-hmm.
outkicked everybody. That was over when they saw it was tactical. But if they race like
Mm-hmm.
Cameron's in it, Noah's in it, and they're all like, "Oh, we're gonna try and get state record." I think a 409, 408 falls pretty easily. Because I mean,
I think it could
he's got a
happen.
kick.
I think it could happen, but it's still like, improvements at a certain point get harder and harder to make. So like
Yeah,
it'll be tough. But I mean, we still got 6-ish weeks away. Like it could happen. I'm not gonna rule it out. I would probably say the odds of it not happening are greater than the odds of it happening though,
oh yeah. I
until
think that
like postseason, or if he goes to some
it,
other national caliber meet.
if it goes to running lane or Nike Nationals or anything, he's
Mhm.
easily getting it. I don't think there's a way he doesn't.
Exactly. I think he gets it at one of those
Because I
for
mean,
sure.
like you look at
If
Keegan
he
last year. I mean, me and Jake, we went to running lane. Dude, we watched him go from like dead last in the 2 mile to almost
hmm
winning. He went 26, 25 seconds the last 200.
hmm
Like best kick I've
he's
seen.
got
And
a
then
good kick.
even
He
in the
does.
mile,
hmm
even in the mile, it wasn't even in the fast yet. I think he went 411, 412. Like
hmm
insane.
Yeah, I mean he's a good athlete. And then he got some good training, with I guess they're called Apex Athletic,
Apex.
but Chad Noel. He got some good training for kind of the first time in his career. Like I actually have had talks with him, and I think I would love to have him on the podcast because he's a hilarious human being.
Yeah.
He's a good chat, I will say. Like he's one of my favorite human beings I've met in Stillwater. And he talked to me about it. He's like, yeah, dude, like it was, like I just got good training and he had some talent there, but like when he didn't have good training, he was kind of a pretty mediocre guy in the state, but he had a
Yeah.
lot of talent. And so whenever he finally did get good training, it's like, oh man, look at how actually good he is, you know?
Yeah. He went from 948 junior year to 850 senior year. So like
Right.
almost a whole minute in the
Right.
2 mile, which is
He was
nuts.
running, he's running like, let's say like 9:48 in the 2 mile. That's basically off of whatever raw talent he has. Like that's just
Yeah.
talent. It wasn't really training. And like, hey, he talked to me. He wasn't really training. He was doing, like high school training of someone that didn't know what they were talking about when it comes to distance running. And then you got someone that knows what they're talking about when it comes to distance running. And of course, he pops off because he actually builds some strength up. He builds some, endurance. He builds all that, the good stuff. Boom, there he goes. Like, and even the training he was doing, it's not crazy, but it was good. Like, it was good. It wasn't necessarily A
Yeah.
plus. It was good, and that's all you need. That's really all you need. If especially if you have talent like Keegan does. So yeah, that's my opinion. Anything else you want? And I'll probably asked that about 10 times. Um,
That was
all
my
right,
last question I had for
all
you.
right, beautiful. It's been a good chat. I think this is definitely longer than the Trey Baker one, but we got into more like deep cuts.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think we've been going for like an hour 30.
Probably. That'll be fun. Someone's gonna listen to it. I might even, because I don't think I'm gonna cut anything out of this one, and
Yeah.
I don't have to necessarily make a header for it to go onto like Spotify. This might be the first Spotify episode. I think I might do that, so then people can listen to it on their runs. I need to like figure out how to upload to Spotify, which I've Googled. It's not apparently that hard. Um, and the way I record this, it separates out an audio file, so I don't even have to go into like video editing and
Y'all are
separate
gonna be
this.
like the Oklahoma running effect.
No, it's yeah. I've listened to one episode of that. I've listened to one. I used to listen to a lot more. I listen to podcasts on every run. That's basically all I do. I
Yeah.
don't listen to music because it's like at a certain point it just repeats. It's like it's annoying. Um,
Yeah. After like 25 minutes, it's like,
and for most of my like running career, I've listened to podcasts, and it was like a pretty steady rotation of like Let's Run. I know I listened to like Sidious Mag for a while, got a kick out of that. When Coffee Club came around, I think I've listened to pretty much every episode of that. But I haven't really been listening to them over the last like couple months. I've been just branching out into other podcasts of all sorts of interesting things. But I've listened to Running Effect one time. It was all right. It was good. It was good. But yeah, this is just sitting down, shooting the breeze since I'm trying not to cuss as well. I really like it. Feels more natural to obviously say the other one, but
yeah.
I'm gonna just assume someone's still listening who might care that I cuss. So yeah, it's been a beautiful time. Good luck going forward the
Mhm.
rest of your season. Cash is state champs. I don't know. Maybe I just should be the one staunch Cash hater. Like jokingly, I'll be a Cash hater. Just like I'll make sure every article somehow mentions how somebody else is gonna beat Cash. I'll just
Give
be
us some
the
motivation.
I'll be yeah, exactly. I'll be like the guy that like at the end of the season, y'all can just put like hate mail out for me. Like I don't care. You can send me hate in my DMs. It'll be interesting. I
Hey, whenever we win, you could cut this part and be like, Cash is gonna win state right here.
yeah, I
Right
can
here.
yeah, I'll
That's
just
it.
cut this little bit out, throw it on Instagram. Cash 4A state champs. I'm big Cash Bulldogs guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, who
Get you
knows?
some
We'll
cash
see. I
merch.
yeah, cash merch. That'll fly off the shelves right there. That'll fly. That's what every high school runner wants is
Oh
some cash
yeah.
merch, dude. Like, sign me up for some cash merch. I will say though, with the whole mile split gig, if someone listening does bring me one of their like t-shirts from their team, I will probably not wear it. But like, hey, you can give it to me. Like, you're welcome to. I don't care. Like, but am I gonna wear
Uh,
your merch? No, not a shit. I don't wear. Well, I guess I do occasionally, like on runs and stuff. It's like dry fit stuff, and like I might as well wear that old
yeah.
t-shirt. But anyway, that's been enough. We'll get out of here. But yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. All right, beautiful.
Thank you for having me on.
All right. See you later.